Hello everyone, my name is Abhinav Jain, and this is the Real Abhinav Video Experience. Welcome everyone to a very special episode. This is one of many episodes that I plan to record on site, traveling around the world, meeting people in person and recording at any given location. This episode was filmed at the legendary Palmys, which has just opened up in Pacific Beach, San Diego, sitting on a remarkable landmark, a building that's been around since the 1920s. I sit down with the founder and the owner of this restaurant, Beach Cafe, and we talk about so many great topics. We talk about how Palmys got started, how he came up with the menu, the branding, what it took to get this place up and running. Boy, it was not like this when they first got here, and they've renovated the entire place, making it look absolutely beautiful and inviting. And he did all of this with a smile on his face, being peaceful and calm the entire time. We talk about how he got to that kind of state, how meditation has helped him, and how that's helped him throughout business to be a successful entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur at that. We talk about his first entrepreneurial adventure right out of college, expanding that business to 15 locations, exiting that, going through his own mental journey and spiritual journey to become awakened and be a better person from that point on. We uncover so many great topics, you guys. I can't wait for you to hear this episode. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, put your headphones on, and let me take you for a ride. And by the way, make sure you check out this episode on YouTube because we did a great job of showing you different parts of the restaurant, along with making sure that you got to see a glimpse of this beautiful location. So go ahead and check it out on YouTube, and let's get back and enjoy the show. All the stones in its place and every little detail I've seen you probably mess with here and there, as every day I would walk past here to go to the gym. And I've seen this place literally take life and transform over this time, right? So I want to hear a little bit more about this story. I know our listeners are definitely interested, right? And I'll paint the colors as our story unfolds, but I really want to start with, like, give us some understanding of how you got to this place. I know there's a backstory here of you being a serial entrepreneur, and I want to have you go into as much depth as you'd like. But I want to hear, how did we get to Palmys 2021 in the middle of a pandemic? But what was going on with Dylan way before to get you to this point?
So originally, like, grew up a tennis player, or I don't really like to identify with certain things.
You were a tennis player.
Yeah, so I played tennis, but it's part, like, I guess it's just part of the chapters of my life, and how everything kind of unfolded. I definitely found, like, a serious passion for tennis, and I really think that I love tennis because I gave my best at it, and it really brought me to the moment. It brought me to being present, like, and when you're playing tennis, like, being able to focus so intently on one thing at a time is really unbelievable. And most sports do that. And I think that's why people fall in love with sports, is because it really brings you to the present moment. And it really just allows your intuition to guide you. Like in tennis, I'm not thinking when I'm in the middle of a point.
The next swing, you're just right there.
Yeah. Think about the safety that plays in football. Like, he's not, like, thinking. His intuition is guiding him. And he's like, okay, I need to go. Like, he's just moving, like, naturally. And so that's a beautiful thing about sports. But I played college tennis, went to the Citadel, which is a military college in South Carolina, studied business, went to college for free. I'm definitely not an advocate of going to college unless it's something that you need a degree for, whether it's engineering, being a doctor, or whatever else.
You finished your degree in business?
Business,
wow.
Yep. Okay. And, like, I went for free, so I guess it for me it was helpful. But you look at college now, and you're just like, everyone has a degree, whether it's an associate's degree, an online degree.
C's get degrees, bro.
Like, there's just so many people have degrees now. It's like, doesn't really hold much weight. So,
sure.
I guess to the listeners, I would say that if you're looking to go get a degree in business, take your $150,000 and start your own business, and you'll learn 1,000 times more than you will sitting in a classroom full of 50 people having some professor who's probably never actually done it in his life tell you how to run a business. It just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. But anyways, went to college,
How'd you
graduated.
pick business though? Were you always like kind of entrepreneurial as a kid?
Yeah,
Were you
like-
like having a lemonade stand and hustling like baseball cards or something? Like what were you like as a kid that made you
like
go
I
into
love business. It's broad. You know what I mean? Like there's basically a business component in everything. Even if you're a doctor, like it's still a business. You can
Sure.
own your own medical practice so I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm fine with that. But if I go into business, I'll have just general understanding, general principles of, how to balance my books or how to do, just general marketing. And that kind of applies to whatever you want to be in life. So, got my degree, and it was a military college. So it was a very structured and regimented schedule on a daily basis. And when I graduated, I'm just like, I'm not going to work for anyone. Like, I'm kind of done taking orders and letting people tell me what to do on a daily basis. Like I want to follow what I want to do. And so I started my own little acai cafe.
What year was this, Dillon?
This was in 2014.
Got it.
So I actually used to go in my senior year in college. I started getting into just how my body felt and how I felt better. Just
you used to work out a lot, you told me. Was that
Yeah.
around the same time?
Similar time. Yeah,
Okay.
similar time. But like, I started to notice that the more vegetables and fruits and juices and healthy smoothies and just better ingredients I was putting into my body, I started to feel better on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just developed a passion for health and wellness. And I was juicing a lot in my senior year in college.
Talking about fruit juice, not steroids.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I was doing both.
I love it. That was a great segue, not planned, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm fine talking about it.
Hey,
'cause
I'm all
I've
into it.
overcome it. Like I was insecure growing up, like high school and college. I felt like I was smaller and thinner,
Yeah.
and tennis is a very active and like tough sport on your body, and like it's hard to gain weight. Like you're constantly thin as a
Dude.
tennis player because you're running so much. And
I don't want to
working so
derail
hard.
you on this, but I know about how hard it is to gain weight. I'm 5'5.5", and I weigh like 170 pounds now, but I was 111 pounds trying to get to 120.
Yeah.
And I remember having to one of the things I did, please don't do this ever. I 30 days in a row would go to McDonald's at night after my workout and get 2 McDoubles so I could just pound all that down. And I think in about 30, 35 days, I gained about 20 pounds.
So my question to you is,
And that was not good weight.
So my question to you is, did the mind tell you, hey, did your thoughts tell you, hey, if you bulk up because you're a small guy, I'll feel better about myself?
Yeah, because I was getting bullied, right? And I didn't like that. I had also wanted to be bigger than I was. I couldn't get taller no matter what I did.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I went to my mom and who's a nurse, and I said, hey, can you ask the doctor if he can prescribe me growth hormone? This is like a 13-year-old kid,
Wow.
a 14-year-old kid. I'm like, doing my research. I'm
Dude,
like,
your growth plates are still open at that time.
well, that's what I said. I'm like, and my doctor did the test. Like, he's like, yeah, his growth plates are like slightly left to be fused. I don't think the growth hormone is going to help him that much. And I was like, I don't care. I want to take it. I was so into it.
Yeah.
But but that was exactly like you said. I mean, at that time in my life, I felt that if I was just jacked and looked like a freak, that people weren't going to fuck with me, which was kind of true, but also brought along that could be a whole podcast in itself, and I don't want to derail this. So, but I'm happy to go into it.
Yeah, no, whatever. Whatever you think.
But I'm curious. Let's go back to you started your first acai bowl.
Yeah, so
business,
I was actually
2014.
I was actually in Laguna Beach, and I saw this.
Neighbors.
What's that?
I grew up there. We're like neighbors, bro.
Well, I was just on vacation. But I saw this acai cafe, and they're like, this is really cool, and it's healthy. And I when I was in high school, I saw all these high school kids there, and I'm like, it was like a hangout spot for them over the summertime.
Yeah.
And when I was in high school, my hangout spot was Del Taco, and everyone would eat dollar tacos on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we would go there on the weekends, and everyone would eat Del Taco all the time. And I was like, this is actually really cool. Like, it's a cool, healthy, fun spot where I can promote healthy eating, and this could be like my first business venture. And I went to my uncle, who was also an entrepreneur at the time and still is. And I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I was talking with him about, like, what do I want to do? And I was talking with him and I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to start my own acai cafe. So him having gone through business before, like, helped me put together a pro forma and helped me put together a deck and helped me raise funds for, like, opening up my own first store, and showed me how to get a business license, which is interesting. I'm like, how did I learn none of this in college? Like,
Yeah, they don't teach you this stuff.
no, like, how is there not a business class in college that says you're going to start a business from A to Z? Like, you're not going to actually spend the money on it, but I want you to start the business and
To
finish
learn
it
every
and complete
bit of it.
it.
Yeah, 100%.
And learn it. Like, file your taxes.
Oh yeah.
File for an. Are you going to file for an LLC? Are you going to file for as a
S corp,
corporation?
yeah.
Like, just going through all the proper steps to set up your bookkeeping. Are you going to use Quick? Like, how do they not teach these things?
Blows my mind,
Like,
bro.
I'm learning freaking business stats that are just, like, unbelievable. I'm, like, in the hardest math classes of all time, and I'm learning nothing about business. But anyways, like, my uncle, like, really, and my dad too. My dad's an entrepreneur. Like, they both really walked me through the process of how to start my own business.
I've got a quick favor to ask of you. If you've been enjoying this podcast, I'd really appreciate if you could take 1 minute of your time and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It goes a long way, and I'd really, really, really appreciate it. If you've already done that, thank you again. Please share this episode with someone you know, a friend or family member. Download the episode or share the link, whatever works for you. Now let's get back to it.
And I just learned so much along the way because I was there and I was just pouring my soul into it. And I was just like, I need to make this successful, and I want to make it work. And really, like, I just wanted to give it my best. And my dad used to say that to me growing up, like, if you're going to be a garbage man, be the best garbage man in the world. If you're going to be a, like, tennis player, try to be the best tennis player you could possibly be.
Diligent with whatever it is you do.
And really, I just, like, took that and I just applied that to everything. Like, if I'm going to plant a tree, plant it the best that I could possibly do. If I'm going to wash dishes, wash the dishes the best you could possibly wash them.
It's like the saying goes, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything type of mentality.
Translates.
Yeah.
Like, practice how you play. Like, it translates into the next thing. And, like, you even hear a lot of people talking about, oh, make your bed
in the morning.
every morning.
Yes,
and
yes.
like, there's truth to that. Like, I get it. Like, okay, start your day off by just giving your best to one activity. To me, it's meditation. Like, I wake up and, like, kind of in a fog when you wake up and you're tired.
Disarrayed, like launching into this planet.
Yeah, and I, like, you probably have had a dream or something and you're just like, where am I? Like, you're waking up out of REM sleep. And, like, to me, I just, I want to find, I call it my flow. People call it their intuition or the Holy Spirit or Buddha or God or whatever you want to call it. But I just call it my flow. I just want to sit still, let go of my thoughts, and find my flow and let that guide me throughout my day. So anyways, but yeah, my dad's a very wise and present and godly human being. So he always gave me great advice growing up. But him and my uncle, they really set me on the path to launching my first business. And, like, I poured my soul into that little acai cafe, and when you walked in there, you felt it. And I talked to every single person that walked in, and I made sure their bowls came out right and their smoothies came out right, and I wanted them to try it. And, if it wasn't right, I wanted to remake it for them. And just, I listened to people and I talked to them and I cared, and I just gave my best to every single moment of that business. And the business ended up becoming successful. And it was funny, like,
how long did it take for the business to be successful?
So it took, I remember I think we opened up in August
of 2014.
2014. No, I'm sorry. We opened up in September. We didn't make money in September. We lost a little bit, like $3,000. October, we didn't make any money, but November we started making money, I believe. We made like $800 or something, and I was
like
stoked.
Profit.
Yeah, profit.
This is very common in PV, people racing.
Yeah, all the time. Harleys and all kinds of stuff. And then I remember like fast forward to like January, we made like $6 or $7 grand, and then February we made like $8 or $9 grand, and then March rolls around, we made like $13,000 or $14,000.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, this is unbelievable. Like, this is amazing.
And this is just you running the business?
Yeah. I mean, my uncle and my dad were helpful and always people that I could lean on to ask questions.
But you're the one making the bowls.
I'm there day to day. I'm there literally from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. when we close. I'm seeing every single customer. Like,
that's 13 hours for you that can't do math.
Well, yeah, I'm there every single day. Like, in the first 6 to 8 months, I did not leave that place. Like, there wasn't freaking an hour that went by where I wasn't there. And I loved it. Like, it really didn't feel like work for me. A lot of people glorify how hard they work all the time now. And I'm just like I don't really glorify that. Like, yeah, I think working hard is a great quality, but also resting is a great quality, and being able to take time to actually be a better worker when you are working and more clear-minded when you are working. Like, if I'm exhausted and tired and I'm trying to work, like, I'm not efficient. I'm not the best version of myself trying to work or communicate. And so I don't really try to flaunt how I'm the hardest worker ever. You know what I mean?
Hustle, man.
No, I just want to be clear, and I want to work. And through that clarity, I'll see that my intuition will show me to work hard and work smart and work efficiently.
So where did we go from the profit coming in? How did that business take turn, or did you sell it, or what happened with that?
So then I'm opening up now I'm looking for spot number 2. I'm gonna want to expand. And really, I got a little too excited. I was 23 at the time, so I just got too excited, and I should have just, like, the current spot that I had, I should have ironed that out a little bit more. But I was like, this new spot's gonna be phenomenal, and it turned out that it was. And at that point, I was talking with some people that were coming into my stores, local Vegas people, casino owners, and they were in a similar business to me, and they were like, hey, we should partner up and do this together. And so I did that. We grew the concept. We changed the concept to Boology. It used to be called Acai to the T.
You were right on the market, because I remember around the same time, 2014, 2015, that's when I was at the height of my bodybuilding career. I had just finished competing, and I remember seeing these acai bowl places popping up left and right. And that was a very big cultural shift right then in the marketplace.
Cold pressed juice, acai bowls.
Very popular.
I was maybe the first or second. There was some other places that had one or acai bowl. That was the first acai bowl place for sure in Vegas. And people around town knew the place. They would drive from across town to come and get these acai bowls.
When you brought these other folks in,
yep.
As a 23-year-old, how did you understand okay, well, how does this work? Do I give them a percentage of my business, profits? Do they bring money to the table? How did you figure all that out?
I didn't really understand it all.
I see.
It just kind of unfolded naturally.
Okay.
I sold majority share of my 2 stores, and came into, at a young age, a decent amount of money. And I think I just didn't know, how to spend money at that time or save, or it kind of felt like monopoly money.
You went
almost.
Bought a Porsche, right?
No, I didn't. I didn't do anything like that. I actually made more investments into things. Ended up losing on a couple different projects, but so we ended up growing into, I think, 14 or 15 stores or something like that.
Holy
we had plans to build more, and we built different concepts. And at the time, cold pressed juice was super popular, so I built a co-manufacturing facility, which was really unbelievable. Building this facility was one of the coolest things that I think I did, and I built it with my partners, but I just learned so much about products and product development. And once you went through that, you've pretty much just found that you could launch any business at that time. Go find a co-packer. Go find a co-packer of a product that you want to launch, and they'll make it for you. Throw a great brand on it and hustle it. And you can.
Yeah, people today call that drop shipping.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different, but.
Well, I'm just bringing you up to the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%. You're right. That's what it was.
But like, there's also a component of learning the ins and outs of the business, like of manufacturing and how things are manufactured and how they're made, and not just manufacturing, but distribution and supply chain management, and
there's so much shit you don't learn in school.
Yeah, logistics and like you see a product in Walmart, but you're like, how did it get there? What is like, where did it come from? Where was it made? How were the things sourced? So you start to, as you become a co-packer, you start to look at things, and then you have a full understanding of how all of these things unfold. So that was really cool. I ended up leaving that company in 2019. I really just wanted to focus on.
So just to recap, 2014, you start your first acai bowl cold pressed juice business.
Yep.
2015, you start to expand it to a secondary location, which goes well.
Yep.
And then from there, you bring on partners, and now you've gone to 15 stores.
Yep.
In a couple of states.
Brought on partners in 2016. I think it was March. Was when that was finalized.
And exited in 2019.
Yeah, it was like, yeah. I mean, that's exactly.
Is there more to it? You can elaborate. I mean,
no. I mean, that's kind of how it all unfolded. And from there, like, to be honest, I was working so hard and so many hours after that I just freaking chilled afterwards.
Yeah, you needed to actually be your age for a bit.
Yeah, I just like relaxed. I was working so hard, like I was making great money, but I just was kind of at my most unhappy. I was just kind of a slave to the thoughts in my head, and I was letting that guide me throughout my day, every single day, and I just didn't feel the best version of myself that I wanted to be. So I kind of just took a step back and, wanted to find myself again. And in that process, like, I mean, I don't know if you want to dive into this,
do.
I had a very powerful mushroom trip, and like I didn't plan for it. Really, like in that process of like working out, trying to gain weight, muscle and stuff, like taking supplements that are really not good for my body, I really opened up the door to allow myself to just, I guess, kind of use drugs. I don't consider mushrooms drugs, by the way, but like that opened up the door for me into marijuana. And
it's then like once you allow one thing, you kind of let your guard down to now be able to do everything else in a way. Like I felt that way, when I did, steroids and stuff through bodybuilding, I felt like I opened a door where now it's okay for me to try something else. So when I did weed for the first time, I was like, well, this isn't so bad. It's not as bad as me jabbing myself with needles, and then you go, okay, well, where does that stop,
Yeah, 100%.
So it's opening up the door. Opening up the door, and now it's wide open.
100%. Like, and it can even be like, it tricks you. The voice in your head tricks you to think that you're doing okay. Like, it could even be something as simple as going for a run. Like, I can be in the middle of my run, and I could be like, my thoughts are like, oh, you should stop when you get to that point. And when I get like, first of all, I don't know like what the moment is like. I don't know what the future moment is going to bring. So when I get to that point in the run, what if my intuition tells me that I should keep running? What do I do? Do I stop because my thoughts told me 10 minutes ago that I should stop at this point, but my intuition's telling me to keep going? Or do I keep going? And so I learned like, okay, I got to quiet the voice in my head that's talking to me, and I need to keep going on that run, because if I choose to stop and follow thought, now I've opened up the door for thought to creep in on anything.
Yes.
So now I'm walking back from my run, and I'm like, instead of like, I know that I need a smoothie, I'm going to get a soda and a burrito, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with getting a soda and a burrito. But now you just let that in. But now I'm just following what my thoughts want and what my cravings want, as opposed to what my intuition is telling me that I need and want to follow. So
it's like that compulsion sets in. And, a couple points before I forget them is like, one of them is it's easy to be driven by your voice in your head, as we started this conversation with, because too many of us haven't realized the difference between what is my intuition and what is like this sort of tape of dialogue in my head, this narration that goes on.
Yeah.
I think that takes
confusion. It's confusion.
It's a certain level of self-awareness that it takes which is why I talk about meditation primarily, is because that's what brought it to me. Along with the psychedelics, of course, they force it upon you, right? Like, I want to go back to the mushroom journey for you, that it forces it upon you. But how do you sustain that in your day-to-day life is through a practice of meditation, through breath work, through learning how to, make sure you exercise and eat well. Like,
exactly. It's through a constant feed of feeding your intuition and strengthening it.
That good wolf.
Exactly.
Feeding that wolf.
Exactly. So, I mean, for me, I allowed, like, through steroids, I allowed marijuana to then creep in. And then I was using marijuana, and usually, like, after, like, so much marijuana use, you just don't really even get high anymore.
Yeah, you just do it as a compulsive habit. It's like smoking. You're like, I get high, kinda, and then the people now go to the dabs, or then they go to like the higher concentrated stuff, which is so bad for you because it's so titrated to one specific molecule, and you're not getting your body has to fight. I don't know how many people don't understand this. It's crazy. Like, your body has to figure out how to metabolize all of that. And it has to bring in all these extra things because now you're taking such a concentrated substance. And it's so crazy to me how much weed is glorified today, which makes sense because all the money going into it. And I'm going on this for a bit, but it's like, that's why I keep talking about it now, because I've learned from my own experience, from other people's experience, from talking to people about how it's this innocent plant that we all like want to talk about as like the world's best thing. And I'm not saying it doesn't have benefits, and there's nothing wrong with getting high. But if that's the only thing you keep doing to feel good, there's something you got to look into.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with getting high, except for my high, I want it to be sustainable. Because I noticed
you get to hear and you want to.
I want to stay high.
Yeah.
And like when I was smoking marijuana, it came with a lot of lows. Like, I'd smoke a lot of marijuana, and I'd wake up in the morning and I'd feel super low.
Yeah.
And then I'd need to smoke more marijuana to feel high again. And I wanted my high to be lifelong. So, like, I jump in the ocean and it's freezing cold, and I feel like I just like ripped a bomb.
Fuck.
Yeah, like I feel high from that.
Yeah.
I go for a long run and I freaking run hard.
Yeah.
And after that run, I'm walking and I'm like, man, I feel high.
Oh yeah. After a great workout, sweating like head to toe. For me, it's the same thing. I'm just like in a new world for hours after that.
Yeah. And there's no low afterwards.
There's no crash.
Exactly.
Yes. I love that.
So,
psychedelics came into the picture after your journey.
So I started smoking marijuana and then just kind of stopped getting high and like just started feeling like normal again. And so I'm with my friends. I'm like, well, we should just do mushrooms. And really, like, I didn't agree to do mushrooms to have some spiritual journey. I was like, let's get high on mushrooms. Let's see colors and let's see pictures and like, I don't know. Let's just have fun. Let's just goof off. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to be super high and seeing colors. And what I got in return was a complete spiritual awakening. Like, I felt like it was the only thing that really woke me up completely.
Undeniably.
Yeah, just like undeniably. And a wake up for me that strong. I could never like go to sleep again. I could never turn a blind eye and like trick myself at that age into believing that
it's otherwise.
Yeah.
I always tell this to the young audience that listens to me about like, be careful with some of these substances because you will see behind the curtain and you can't unsee what you saw. No. And you might not be ready for what you're about to see.
But like, I think that a lot of people are suffering. So when they do see behind the curtain, they'll see that there's true joy in actually following what they know is right and silencing the thoughts and bringing themselves back into the moment.
Yeah.
And then there's peace with that. Right. So, people talk about bad trips, but I think they're just fighting against.
I think they're great as a tool, but I think I'm really targeted towards those who abuse it, to be frank.
Who abuse what?
Psychedelics or marijuana or any substance rather, even working out or eating too much, right? Like it's
100%.
Same thought process.
I don't like a lot of it's glorified now to microdose.
Yeah.
And like me meditating, me running,
Bro,
me
that's
exercising.
my microdose every day is meditation.
Me talking truth to someone on the street and listening to them, like that's my microdose.
100%.
Right. And so we ate a lot of shrooms that night. And really what happened and how I kind of describe it to people, like shrooms doesn't change people's lives.
I want to take another quick moment to thank our sponsors, Podcast Backdrops. If you do any kind of video content or pictures online, or you're doing any sort of selling over Zoom calls, you really need to check them out because it will make you look professional from the get-go. Having your brand, your logo, and what you're all about behind you, hiding all your clutter, makes you look so much more professional when you put yourself out there on the internet. So check out Podcast Backdrops if you want to level up your game.
But it wakes you up to see that there's the root of the issue and the root of why you have lack of peace of mind and why you're not happy. And so I kind of like to use the metaphor of like, I was basically asleep in a burning building and I woke up. The shrooms woke me up and I saw that my house was on fire. And like a lot of people will just go right back to sleep. But to me, I'm like, holy shit, my house is on fire, right? Like, and then you start putting the flames out one by one and you start to rebuild. And it's a process. But a lot of people will just go right back to sleep again and their house is on fire and they just burn. And
Point
it's hell.
being, you get this uplifting experience, you wake up, and then you did something about it.
Exactly.
You didn't just ignore it and then just kept chasing that high again.
I couldn't anymore. I just couldn't.
I love that.
Like the wake up was too strong. It's like, if you were to think about it, if you were to actually wake up in your house and it was on fire, would you go back to
freak
sleep?
the fuck? No.
You'd be like,
No.
wow. And like, yeah, you say you freak out, but to me, I think stay calm because if you're calm, you can see
You'd be
through.
able to handle it better. No, you're right.
You can handle the
you're right.
situation a little bit better.
The adrenaline would maybe get to some people, but yeah, like it'll make you do things. It'll slow you down a little.
Yeah. So I woke up and I just really like started chipping away at really finding joy and peace of mind in life.
So this is 2019, probably going into 2020 a little bit, I'm imagining.
Yep.
How did we get to then you deciding that, okay, I think I'm ready for my new project? Like, what was that process like? And I'm assuming this time is when you started to really practice meditation properly and continuously, right? Taking care of your health even better than you were before. Getting yourself out of that, 7-8 years of like hard grind, like just.
Dude, there really wasn't like a plan. Like, I just wanted to surrender to the moment and to whatever was right in the moment. And I wanted to just listen to that and I wanted to just follow that. And honestly, that's really what just led me here today, is just letting my intuition be my guide in every single moment. And like, I don't say that in a way like you should just walk around aimlessly and like
Your intuition is telling me to just chill out every day of every single week.
And really, like when people say that, I'm like, that's not your intuition.
That's you being lazy.
Yeah, that's laziness.
Thanks for clarifying, Dylan, because I was about to go and do nothing for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So like, that's not what I'm saying.
God. Too funny.
And so, yeah, I just kind of let that be my guide, and one thing led to the other. And I just knew that I wanted to be around good people. And I knew that I wanted to be around people that had like just good values and ones that like just you felt like they were just really honest and really like you want to surround yourself with people where you feel like you become a better individual. You feel to become a better version of yourself. So because like people are really influential. Like it is, if I hung out with some of my friends from middle school or early high school days, like I wasn't the best version of myself with those people. I felt influenced by them. And it's like, it's the same thing, not even with people. It's the same thing with music. It's the same thing with movies. It's the same thing with like whatever it is that you're doing on a daily basis. Like that influences you. Like I love rap music. I listened to it every day growing up. But in my awakening, I'm like, is this really the best like when I listen to this, do I really feel like I'm the best version of myself? And that doesn't mean that I'm never going to listen to rap music again. There's a time and place where it's like fun and you can dance and like all of those things, but like to listen to it on a daily basis.
It shouldn't be your mantra.
Yeah,
Like, you're probably going to be pretty violent otherwise.
as I've like gone further down this path, I find myself listening to like spa music a lot. I'm just like, I just want to listen to like birds chirping and like spa
Frequencies.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just,
dude.
it's amazing.
No, I can totally relate to that. I think there's definitely music it's at the end of the day, it's about vibrations and frequencies.
Music is powerful.
And all of
It's
it
so
is
powerful.
buzzing at different frequencies. So they will certainly, whether you think you wanted to or not, they will affect how your system reverberates at the end of it.
True. Like I
So-
still have like songs that I listened to when I was on mushrooms. And if I turn them on, it's like, oh man, it hits me to my
Placebo
soul.
back to that?
It
Yeah.
literally hits me to my soul.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm feeling either confused or maybe lost and like I've just been getting too much into this thought world, I'll turn those songs on and it's a great like little reminder and like little reset for me.
Love it. So Palmys gets started.
So a little bit more about Palmys and how it got started. I was just became good friends with this guy named Zach. Like I never was trying to sell anyone anything, right? Like I never was like trying to push anything on anyone, but I was talking to this really smart guy named Zach all the time. And, you know, obviously he knew my background in beverage and he knew my background in restaurants and just a visionary and an entrepreneur and just a good guy, just a really good guy. And he lives actually 2 blocks from here. And he called me one day. He's like, hey, COVID just happened. This like coffee shop just shut down. This place is for lease. We should take this over. Like this place is magical. So I got in my car. I drove down here. I met him down here. I checked it out. And immediately I was just like, this place is magical. And as we talked about before, like this building was built in the 1920s. And you could just see the history behind it. And you could see like all the locals walking by. And it just was like one street off the main street. And it had frontage on Cass and it had frontage on Felspar. And it had this big, beautiful garden. And from the beginning, I'm just like, this place
Got a vibe, bro.
This place
has got a vibe.
is like, and when I'm thinking about like becoming a better version of myself, I'm like, I could be here every single day.
Oh, yeah.
And go to the beach every single day, go swimming in the ocean every single day, spend my time here, like promote healthy eating and better for you living. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like this place isn't like a corporate like brand place where we throw brands up everywhere and logos everywhere. And I really learned that from my business partner, Dave, who is just unbelievable in hospitality and one of the best branding people I've ever met. And really like, he's so good at it because he's just authentically himself. And the idea wasn't to throw logos up everywhere and try to sell something to someone, right? Like the idea was just like, let's create a place that we want to hang out and we want to feel better when we're here and that we'll enjoy. And through that, just authenticity, like hopefully people will want to join in on that and be a part of it. And I mean, we just opened up last Wednesday, but I think that the 3 to 4 hour line showed that like people really want that in their lives too. Like people really want to like go to a place where they feel like they can, you know, like happy and joyful and just they feel better and they can leave with a smile and just enjoy themselves. Like, so.
Not to mention just to be in the presence of nature, which is this place's essence from day one, from what it used to be to what it is even now. I think that just adds a lot to it, you know, just how many of us really spend enough time in nature on our day-to-day like work life? Not many. And so having that as an avenue for you to just sit here with your laptop under a tree
For sure.
is a whole different game.
Dude,
you know?
nature is just unreal. I wrote this article on COVID and it was just like all of the things that I started doing to feel better on a daily basis, and nature was a huge part of that. I used to go when I was living in Laguna at the time, and I would go to hike in Laguna, and I loved it. I like being in nature is just like it's so like motherly. right? Like,
yeah. Oh, well,
you just
100%.
It's so beautiful that it just really kind of stops thought dead in its tracks.
Yeah, you look at something beautiful, your little mind can't compute how that is happening.
It's amazing, dude. It's just it like
doesn't work.
I love being in nature. I love looking at flowers and plants and trees and gardening.
That's
like,
the real trip.
Yeah, it's really
It's like tripping in for real life. You're like,
and really, like, I look at how healing nature has been in my life, and I'm just like, how are we not learning this in like elementary school? How are we not falling in love? Like, how are we all not botanists? Just like that's a requirement, right? Like just like we're able to speak, how are we not able to like, just like be botanists at the same time?
So I'm curious to talk more about Palmys a little bit, right? You just opened 5 days.
Yep.
Right. Today, I'm so thankful that you're not busy out the door because I get to do a podcast with you. But I'm very curious, right? Like you mentioned to me off camera, like I asked you about, like, how did you come up with this menu? How did you come up with this branding? How did you come up with this set? All this stuff that you have here. And you told me something that really was not the answer I was expecting, which was, I just put good people around me.
Yeah.
And I was like, how the fuck did you do that, bro?
Yeah. Like
tell me more about that.
My intuition started guiding me to find people that were good at different things. And so you say, how did you put the menu together? It's like, okay, well, I found Dave. My intuition led me to Dave, and Dave like had a great menu at his last restaurant, and we didn't copy it. But like, it's really just surrounding yourself with good people. And like, if you think about, I don't really know much about Steve Jobs, but like the guy didn't code computers, but he found the best coder to code his computers, right? And so I just like started to realize like you can surround yourself with people that can help you with all these things.
Right. Well, and then the other thing was, now that you've gotten this place started,
really like the problem is that with a lot of people in business is like they want to put their name on something, and like I just don't have any pride or ego involved in this. Like, I don't need to tell you that I wrote the menu and I'm some sort of genius, because that's not the truth. Like, I didn't. Like, it's a great menu. I wrote maybe some of the items, or I had an influence on some of the items, but I didn't like write the whole thing.
Yeah.
But there's someone who loves being a chef and loves cooking and loves food, and like that person will help you influence your menu.
That's their passion.
And that's for like, we're talking about it with the menu, but that's just for every component of the business. So, and it's really just like dropping your pride and dropping your ego, and not like claiming that you're some sort of guru. And like,
well, you're right. I mean, part of it is that like the internet world we're living in is like everybody wants to start a business, be a CEO, and have fast results, and like,
and they want to showcase it,
and they want to showcase it and tell everyone. Exactly.
Because I don't want anyone to know. I think being famous.
I don't even think you wanted me to know until I pulled you aside. I'm like, bro,
I told you this is my first podcast I ever done. I don't want people to know I even exist. You know what I mean?
But your essence is always here. And one of the things that I'll mention is every time I've talked to you, or I would say probably half a dozen times or more that I've talked to you, I always feel like you have this energy about you that's just so calming. I don't know how you do it. I think you're like a magician, maybe a wizard with a beard, but you just always have this vibe about you, and I really do mean that. And I think somehow that translates in this place. And even let's say 5 days into the opening, I'm sure things have not been smooth as butter. I'm sure you've had people's orders get messed up, people getting delayed on their orders, maybe dissatisfaction to a little bit, but you've been open 5 days. Tell me about the real like truth on how that's been managing wise, like as a new business that's just started, because people don't see, everybody thinks like, oh, it's not going to be perfect, everything's great.
No, it wasn't. Like, we had some people pissed off, and people that waited too long, and people that waited too long for their food, and but like, I gave my best, and I'm comfortable with that. And like, you might not always get every result that you want, but like, I gave my best to opening Palmys and making sure that it worked and making sure that it was smooth. And I surrounded myself with the right people in the process, and like, so I'm fine with that. If someone's not happy here, like, no problem. Like, Jesus, that's all right.
I mean, I love Kanye, but you're interrupting my podcast, Kanye. Get out of here. Anyway, sorry. Can you repeat some of that?
I was just saying, like, that if someone's upset, like, That's no problem. There's probably really that's just an internal reflection of how they feel on the inside, and I'd be happy just to have a conversation with that person and find out what's really upsetting them. Because if
I'm hungry, Dillon, give me my fucking food.
well, dude, maybe you should have like saw the million people that were in the garden in the big line, and if you were
Before
that
you decided,
hungry,
yes, yeah, I
like
get it.
maybe you should have just had a snack or something before. Like,
Well, I didn't tell you to go out and drink and then be starving and come to me and when I have a huge line.
yeah, like. I mean, I always just try to find every scenario, and before like resorting to being angry and pissed off because I don't like the way that I feel when I'm those things, I try to internally reflect and see how could I have done better in that situation. And really that's the secret to life, is like seeing where you're wrong and seeing your weaknesses and seeing how you can improve, like, and seeing how you can and be better and
Leveling up.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't like want like, I'm not here to tell you on how great I am. I'm just here to tell you things that have helped me become a better version of myself, that helped me, relieve some of the anxious feelings and depressed feelings that I've felt on a daily basis. But
I want to go into that next, but I want to finish the Palmys segment by asking, what would you like Palmys to be known for? This could be a menu item. This could be a vibe. I think I already know the vibe, but like, let's say what would you think would be like, oh, but let's go to Palmys and get this.
I don't know if there's anything like, let's go to Palmys and let's get life. You know what I mean? Let's get truth.
Like
let's have great conversation. Let's feel like, let me authentically be myself more when I go to Palmys. Like, let me be who I truly am. And Dave, my business partner, pushed that a lot and instilled that kind of in me in this place. It's like,
Love it.
Like, we really want everyone to feel comfortable about who they are as individuals and feel welcome, and whatever form or fashion that may be, like, is up to you.
So you're relatively young, and I would say by most people's standards.
Dude, I love talking to you, by the way. This is great.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You sure you're just saying that to make it sound good on my podcast?
No, like, you can just tell that you're a good guy. You know what I mean? You're just a good
See,
guy.
internet?
You are, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I've been looking forward to talking to you for a long time.
You're a truth seeker, right? Like, you're open to hearing truth. You're open to listening to it. And so it's great to talk about it with you, because really, like, as humans, that's the only currency that we have. Like,
this is priceless right here. You can't put a dollar on this.
No, like, this gives me life, is to talk truth. And
sorry?
I'll sell access to this file.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you make the money on the files.
Well,
He's like, I'll sell the podcast. I'm like, that's cool. But what we're doing, like, you could pay me zero forever and I would want to do this, right?
Yeah,
like, this is what's up.
Well, like, and part of the process of this cafe that Dave and I have done, and I've been living upstairs, so I've done it a lot, is like, I'll be out here watering the garden and I'm just talking to everyone that walks by.
Yeah.
They're asking me questions. Like, I spend probably 4 to 5 hours a day, every single day, just talking to people and talking to them about meditation and talking to them about, and really, like, not even talking a lot, but just listening and actually listening and being there and present, and not like listening on my phone or like wondering what I'm going to have for dinner or wondering who I'm going to call later. Just like actually listening to people. And I think they notice the difference.
Yes.
And so that it's just a different energy in this place.
Well, speaking of that, what I'm very curious about is, because you're still fairly young and you've had, I would say, a good amount of success by everyone that in public eyes judges entrepreneurs.
So, like, let's define
and that was
success.
my question.
Yeah.
But that's my goddamn question, Dillon. Let me finish.
Sorry, man.
My question is exactly that. It's like, dude, like, you are still young and you've gotten a very good amount of success, but like, do you think you're successful? And what does that even mean to you?
Successful to me is like, it's surrendering to the moment fully. It's not being controlled by thought, and it's truly letting your intuition guide you to just really have peace of mind and enjoy life. Like, to me, that is successful. Are you enjoying life, or are you super anxious? Like, you could have all the money in the world, but if you're like going to bed with anxiety and depression and regret every night, that sounds miserable to me.
Yeah, you could be a billionaire and feel that.
To me,
What's the
that's
point?
hell. Like,
Yeah.
I've been in such a anxious world and such a like kind of dark space, and that was hell. Like it was, and I had more money than I do now at those moments, and it was honestly, it was hell on earth. And like I really started to understand a little bit of truth to that. Like the religion, they talk about, oh, you follow God and
Sorry about that.
yeah, you follow God, you do the right thing. You meditate, you like practice all these good values that religions stand for, and in the end you'll have eternal life with God and you'll live in heaven. But to me, I'm like, wait,
What about now?
I'm like, that actually feels like right now. Like those, forget about the afterlife.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the now life.
Yes.
And how I feel right now in this moment. Because no one, like, obviously no one knows if there's an afterlife, and like whether you believe it or not. I believe that like you're always living on, just like no matter what, like your soul lives on forever. But I don't really.
We haven't had mushrooms. We won't go there today. I'm curious because a lot of young people, like, what would the message be here for the young entrepreneur who's like very money driven and doesn't seem to realize that that's not the end game here? Like, to build a successful business to any level is not just chasing the money.
Well, like if you're money driven, you're really just giving into thoughts, right? You're really just believing that money is going to make you happy, and it's not. So I would say, and honestly, if what you truly believe is that money is going to bring you happiness, then I would say that you should spend less time being money driven, and the more in the moment and the more present that you are, the quicker you're probably actually going to get money. So people that are money driven, it's actually counterproductive to chase money. Like you will actually probably attain more money if you just stayed present, aware in the moment, and you just chase doing the right thing in your life.
I like that. I think I will expand on that. Doing the right thing portion really comes down to like what you do in business and what I do is same thing. We're dealing with people, we're dealing with individuals, and we want to make them feel good because we have a good intention at heart, and that comes through without even
I truly
trying to sell
want
it.
what's best for people. Like there's no like secret agenda. There's no hidden motive that I want something from you. I just truly want what's best for people. And when you truly want that, like you're willing to tell people the truth. And like really like I truly want what's best for myself. Like if you boil it down, like I'm selfish. And so truly wanting what's best for other people actually brings me joy.
Right. Absolutely. So I want to ask you about these couple of things. And we got some visitors. We're almost there, you guys.
What?
We're almost done.
Are we? I don't know.
I mean, I don't want to keep you if you got to go, but
I'm here. I don't have a plan.
Perfect. I think it would be valuable to have you share, because I always share about meditation with my audience, but I'd be curious to hear, what do you have to say about meditation in general, what it does for you, and how do you meditate?
So, so for the people who have never meditated before in their lives, I would say there's benefit in even just taking 20 breaths every day, 10 breaths even.
Speaking to me.
Right? Like just start somewhere. And for me, like I really just spend the time to sit, close my, like I talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, I meditated. I'm like, well, meditating is more than just closing your eyes and think and daydreaming. Like that's daydreaming. That's not meditating.
Yes.
Meditation is a practice that like where I spend my time focusing on my breath, focusing on on the moment, focusing on bringing my awareness to what's happening right now, which is my breath. Like my breath is in the present moment. And so I bring my attention to that. And sometimes I'll count my breath. I don't really have like a set structure, but sometimes I'll count my breath. Maybe if you've never meditated before, like maybe just in 1, out 2, slowly in 1, out like 3 and 4, and just up to 20. And maybe you go up to 20 and back. Like that's really not that, like doesn't seem that difficult.
Tempo maybe.
But what's going to happen is you're going to notice that in the middle of you counting, your like there's going to be a thought that creeps in. Oh, I need to call my mom. I need to do this. I need to do that. And really, you just want to notice that, be aware of it, and then let it go. And then bring your attention back to your breath. So that's the practice, is letting go of thought, bringing your attention back to the moment, back to the present, back to your breath, and letting go of thoughts. Because you could be in a like thought world where you're dealing with a lot of anxiety, and like your thoughts are going to just continue to bring you down this darker path of anxiety. And if you just take the time to, in the practice, to actually letting go of that, finding the moment, like that's the practice, letting go of thought, finding the moment, letting go of the thoughts, and just bringing your attention back to the present moment again. And so sometimes I'll do that to 100, sometimes I'll do it to 50 and back. Sometimes I'll just like listen to the sounds of the ocean, and I'll find a thought that creeps in, and then I'll just bring my attention back to the waves or to the birds. Like nature is great because there's like a lot of natural sounds of the wind or the water falling or
so basically
wherever you're is.
Listening to what's around you very attentively, because at any given moment in time, there's hundreds of noises being made. And which one are you tuned with?
You're practicing letting go of thoughts so they have less control over you.
I love it.
And when they have less control over you, you're not a slave to them. You're not listening to those thoughts that tell you, I need to go out and drink to be happy. I need to get like drunk and party and in order to feel good. Like, no, I can let go of that. Or I need to
smoke weed.
Yeah, you smoke weed. Or like I need to go eat 2 Big Macs. Or I need to like do steroids. Like you're just practicing letting go of those thoughts that are controlling your life, and you're finding the moment again, and you're letting that inner knowing be your guide.
Yes.
And not thought be your guide. And that's really like what I want to, like, that's what I do on a daily basis. If I'm not doing that, I feel like I'm more submissive to my thoughts.
Like if you go 2 to 3 days without doing that process, it almost feels like there's a buildup, right?
Yeah.
It's like you haven't flushed the toilet in a few days type of thing.
Yeah. And like, they're not always negative thoughts. Like
no, it could be positive
Sometimes
highs.
I'll get into like these like
delusional
fairy tale thoughts, and I'm like giving this big public speech.
Oh, dude, I see him all the
You're
time.
getting looked at like this guru, and like
And I'm like,
you're just this amazing human being. And like those can be sometimes even
Those
worse.
can be very
I know we talked about this the
damaging.
other day. I call those chocolate covered shit.
I was just about to bring that up. That's probably the most epic thing I've heard. Those are chocolate covered shit thoughts.
I'm not gonna take credit for it. My mentor would always say that to me. Like,
That's pretty good though.
But yeah, it's like
Pretty good.
it's true. Like it's shit covered in chocolate, and you go and like a lot of people are eating it, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it's shit in there. I had to just do it. I had to do it. Okay. I'm also curious to hear, because you are someone who like me can resonate on the fact that, look, it's much easier to take care of yourselves in the short term, because being in the dark places of being so anxious and depressed and feeling like shit is way harder to deal with than actually just doing what you should do daily to just kind of, tend to yourself.
Yeah.
What would you say? Because a lot of my audience does come to me because they're too anxious, too depressed. How would you?
Yeah, like a lot of them are like, oh, well, like it's too hard to eat healthy. It's too hard to exercise. It's too hard to meditate. I can't sit still. And I'm like, actually, that's the easiest thing in the world to me. Like those things,
I'm gonna be one of them. But that's because you have like a business and like you have all your shit together. Bro, I get these kind of comments. I'm telling you.
Yeah, like you'll say, like, but there was one point when I didn't have everything together, and maybe like it's still like everything's not together. I'm running a business. Like I could lose it at any moment, but I just don't give in to the fear of being able to lose it at any moment. So, but what I'm saying is like those, like anxiety's hard, depression is hard. Like I've been in an anxious place. Like those, not exercising and being obese, like that's hard.
It's rough.
Like, dang man, I've like had some, like I've like eaten some bad meals, and I've just, my stomach is just like, that was hard. Like, right?
You feel
it. Yeah, and like when I drink green juice and smoothies and eat salads and just feed my body proper nutrition, like I just feel better. And that's easy. Like it's the easiest thing in the world. But and a lot of people will just say like, no, it's like it's too hard, and I don't know, it's like all those things. But I just don't. I think it's the easiest thing in the world.
So what do we ask people that tell us that they're depressed and anxious?
So for me, I ask them a lot of questions.
Tell me.
If someone tells me they're anxious, I probably believe them. Like I'm like, yeah, you're probably
not
right.
making it up.
But I don't think that you have anxiety and you can't fix it. So my questions are to the people that have anxiety, like, are you meditating every single day? Are you exercising every single day? Are you giving your best to every single thing that you do? Are you focusing on one thing at a time? Are you, eating healthy? Are you practicing patience, or are you giving into anger? Are you like doing your best at reading and not just like getting
scrolling?
Like stuck into this rabbit? How much like Netflix are you watching? How much Instagram and social media are you?
Where are your eyes and ears?
I don't care even if you're like watching some person work out and positive things. Like how much are you actually scrolling through your phone? How much sun are you getting on a daily basis, right? Like how much are you outside actually soaking in the sun, being in nature? Like how often are you doing these things? And if you're doing every single one of those things on a daily basis, plus more that we could probably list if we sat down and thought about them, and you're still feeling anxious, like I would love to have a conversation with you. Like, let's talk about this.
I love it. I would say, I think there's a similar list for depression because they're very linked. It's, anxiety gone viral is basically depression, is all it is. Oh, I should coin that one.
What?
Anxiety gone viral is depression?
I think that, so when we talk about anxiety and depression, I think that anxiety comes from worries and thoughts about the future. And I think depression comes from thoughts and worries about the past.
Yeah. So you could get anxious about like stuff you didn't do, right?
Yeah.
Like, so they're linked. They're not.
Yeah. I think they're a similar feeling. Like ultimately you don't feel good.
You feel like shit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Stop eating chocolate covered shit, you guys.
Yeah.
Fuck. I don't understand. I truly don't get it, but I don't have to understand because I believe being in your presence and seeing you operate the way you do in the interactions we've had, and when I walk by and you don't see me because I'm short enough to hide behind the bushes, and I see you interact with other people.
So have you just identified with being short? I don't understand.
Yes, I've identified by being short. No, I'm huge, son.
I just don't get it.
Well, like when I'm walking by and I see. So my point being, it's fascinating to me how you stay so calm and sober and just like chilled the hell out when, like this business is no joke. Like there's all kinds of things that are coming up left and right. And even when this place was being under construction, seeing you so present and calm with it rather than being like, shit, I got to launch, bro. Like I'm not making money right now. This got to go.
That's funny that you mentioned that. Like you'll see a lot of people under these like high pressure situations, they start to give in to anger and frustration, and like you'll see a lack of calm. And I had this conversation with my investor in this project where I was like, listen, like I operate differently. I was like, if you see me calm, it's not that I don't care. Like when you see me calm, that's when I'm my most efficient.
Yes.
Because I know that if I'm calm, that I'm thinking clearly. And if I'm thinking clearly, I'm better able to navigate myself through a tough situation the calmer that I am. So I was like, if you're seeing me extra calm, like you're seeing me at my best. Like that's when I'm like, you're seeing me at a point where I'm really focusing in on trying to navigate us through any sort of problem that we're dealing with. So, and he understood that. Like he was like, yeah,
good partner right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there was a couple of things I wanted to ask about. One was, you told me before that having a business for you, because we talked briefly about investing, is like investing in yourself and what your abilities are versus giving that money to, let's say, a fund, like a mutual fund or a Bitcoin or even a piece of real estate, versus like having kind of, the power in your own two hands to run your business. Like shit, if my building closes down, like I'm gonna sell
Yeah, I just
whatever.
don't.
Right,
I
you
just
know?
don't know enough. Like we talked about the stock market the other. I just don't. It just seems like if you're in New York, there's a lot of like shady stuff going on where the rich just get richer and do shady stuff. But like when I'm an entrepreneur and it's my business, I'm in control of that. I can control my destiny by how much I want to like focus in and do the right thing and follow what I like, my intuition in every single moment. And really the end result is based off of me. And so I don't make like investments into the stock market and crypto. And like, I just don't know. Like that's so out of my hands. And it's just, I'm not trying to like become the next like crypto billionaire or something. So it just doesn't, those things don't excite me. They actually say that like $70,000, there's not much improvement on your life past $70,000.
And once you start making $70,000 to $75,000 a year, the quality of your life is not necessarily going to change drastically from an emotional perspective. Maybe, you know, if you had like a lot of debt, it might still need a little more, but generally speaking, they've done studies on this. It's like, that's a pretty standard, like, you know, more money than that. It's just like, I would say the more money you have, you can sometimes be more volatile in a way because you have so much at your disposal. It's kind of like, I'm not trying to talk shit about rich people.
I think we see a lot of people that have changed with money.
Yes.
But I don't think that's
I don't know if
everyone.
it's always good.
Like there's a lot, like I know deep into my core that if I became a billionaire, I would still hold true to my values and I would still meditate every single day. And I would still, my number one focus in life would be to do the right thing in every single moment. And if like $1 billion just happened to come through the evolution of that, like I'm fine with that, but I'm not going to sacrifice my integrity. I'm not going to, you know,
your well-being,
I'm not
your
gonna,
peace of mind.
Really,
all of that.
That's because that's the most important
Those
thing in the world
fruits.
to me.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Well, shit, Dylan, we've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. Can
Dude,
you
I
believe
didn't
it?
even realize. I thought we just started.
Yeah,
I feel
I
like there's
know.
like a lot more to talk about.
I mean, we could keep going. Like these things will go on for like 3 hours, bro. Like, this is crazy. But what else do you think we should touch on? I mean, a lot of young kids will listen to this. And a lot of them are struggling with wanting things too fast. And I mean, it took you like 7-8 years to build yourself, to exit the business you started once as, you know, a solopreneur to becoming, you know, where you are today, the opening at the beach in Pacific Beach, a cafe that is just 5 days old and it's launching. I mean, like people want shit like today, bro. They want shit now.
Yeah.
You know, give me the solution
say,
now.
I would say what helped me is stripping myself of all the identities that I labeled myself to be.
Like the other day, you called me out when I said I don't want to go into the ocean because it's not.
You said I'm not an ocean person or something.
Something like that. I said, and you're like, "What do you mean you're not an ocean person?" I'm like, "You're right. What the fuck am I talking about?"
like you just
little automated things
you just
we say.
Believe the thought in your head.
Yeah.
Like try, and really, what happens is that thought in your head is a life force. It wants to survive, right?
If
it
you
wants
give it
to
fuel.
live. It wants to live. Like it's a life force. It wants to live, but it's a dark life force. And so it tries whatever it can to survive. And it knows, that life force knows that if you jump in the ocean and you shut it off for a couple minutes, that you're killing it, right? Like its life force is going down.
Yeah.
And your light is going up. So it'll come up with every single excuse possible to not get you to shine that light brighter on that darkness. Because really, like, if you add light to it, it's like darkness doesn't survive in the light. So you jumping in the ocean is like it's not a big, I'm not saying it's a big war, but it's a small step.
It's a step, yeah.
It's adding more light into your life, which is killing the dark force in your life. And so
shedding yourself of all the identities that you have taken on has been the biggest liberator for you.
One of them, I would say so. Like, just the biggest liberator is like when I was on my shroom trip, I really boiled it down to the most simple thing in the world. I'm like, I get it. Like, sit still, meditate, find my clarity and find my intuition and let that guide me in every single moment. That's it. Like, it was so, you already know what the right thing is to do, but
Just don't do it.
yeah, you just don't do it.
Just don't do it, and then we suffer the consequences.
It's because you're not doing the things on a daily basis where you can see clearly. Because
It's funny because people will think like, and even some of my successful friends who have made multi-millions of dollars, and they work very hard. And I'm not saying, so let me preface this. I would say that they don't meditate. They don't necessarily even have a great diet. Some of them maybe work out a little bit because, my bodybuilding influence has gotten them to exercise here and there. But the point being, like, I only talk about this stuff because to me, it's like the ground you're walking on. If it's not solid, at some point you're going to cave and you will fall through. And if you're going to fall through by already, having millions of dollars above you and having more responsibility as that human, and then you fall through, the fall is going to feel much harder than if you were just, plain Jane going through life. And
to be honest, I already feel like they're already kind of suffering the consequences internally, whether they want to put on a front or not. But like, not knowing that they should exercise every single day, knowing that they should meditate every single day, and knowing that they should like do the things that.
What would you say to the person that doesn't see the value in the meditation piece, but they maybe started to take care of themselves in other ways? I mean, you and I are big proponents for meditation because we've seen the actual benefits of it.
Yeah, like.
But to someone that doesn't see it, I don't know how. I guess I'm trying to be the salesman of meditation, right? Like, how do I convince this guy to want to start doing this?
Like, really, the best way to convince someone to start meditating is to meditate yourself. Like, you can't just convince someone of something if you don't actually believe in it and do it yourself. Like, I can't tell you to, if I didn't meditate and I didn't do it on a daily basis, then I wouldn't be able to actually tell you, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't know from experience.
It's like, well, how do I, like, I heard this sometimes. I've heard this oftentimes too. It's like, how do I teach my child to like stop watching porn, right? And okay, well then, if you want to do that, it's like, yeah, obviously tell them to not watch porn. That's a given. But really teach your child that doing the wrong thing ultimately makes you feel not good, right? And the only way to teach your child that is to live that in your own life. And like, so that's like, you want to teach someone to meditate, like actually meditate every single day. I'm not saying you don't, I'm just saying like
that's fair. I think that was a great answer because part of it is like, look, if they see, for example, when I met you the first time, I didn't even know you meditated, but I told you there's something about you. I like how you are very calm. Do you meditate? Do you do that? And you were like, dude, that's my thing. And I was like, oh, we're going to hit it off. We should definitely talk.
Yeah.
Like, there was something about your presence, your energy, the way you carry yourself. I think
the problem is that meditation kind of became a cliche word.
Oh, same thing with yoga, right? Because all the Lululemon nonsense.
Yeah, and so it's just like people are like, oh yeah, I meditate and like this
checkbox.
I honestly, like, I used to, in the foundation that I was a part of, we would call it sitting still, sitting quiet, and really it's the same. You call it whatever you want. Like, you don't even have to call it meditation.
Yeah, that's why I have to sometimes use different words like breathing exercises. It's like, bro, this kid asked me, he was like, oh man, I'm smoking so much weed. Like I have to like cut back because I'm spending too much money. I'm 21 and I've been smoking for like the last 6 years and I want to be better. And so I'm like, okay, how about this? Next time you want to smoke, I want you to imagine a joint like this big. Close your eyes. Imagine you put that big fat joint in your mouth and I want you to take long for like 20, 30.
Yeah.
He did like some of those right in front of me. He's like, dude, I feel so good. Is this some sort of like placebo or something? I'm like,
great.
Listen, this is your fucking breath, son. There's no placebo here. You would be dead without this breath. So when you consciously focus on your breathing, nothing else matters.
So I don't actually know the science behind this, and I'm not going to claim that I know it. By the way, that's phenomenal.
That crazy?
Like, that's phenomenal. But there's truth to that because your lungs, when you breathe, actually release a very, very micro dose of amount of DMT.
But what's more critical than breathing is the end of the day is the question.
No,
that's the vital force in your body.
No. Yeah, of course. And like, that's why exercise is so powerful and why I love to run, is because when I'm running, I'm like, and I suffer I suffer myself like for air, and I'm like, I'm like really want to breathe.
Yeah.
I don't find myself thinking about something or anxious about tomorrow or yesterday or the next day or whatever it may be. Like, I just don't find those anxious feelings are alive because I want to breathe. Like, I want air in my lungs. I want to survive. And so when you do things like that, like, it really kind of stops and slows the mind. Like, it stops the thinking patterns. And so if you're someone who's just thinking so much, you're like, I can't meditate, I can't even sit still. Like, those things are helpful. Like, go for a long run, go for a hard run, go for a walk outside, go for, like, those are also just great forms of like different types of meditations or, quieting the mind things.
Anything else that you can speak to from your experience of being somewhat like habitual on cannabis, on marijuana, and being, and of course, I know you have way more control over it now, and so do I, but at some point in our lives, we've definitely been carried away by it and have taken it to a point where you're just like, bro, what am I doing with myself? But there's plenty of people out there still, especially the ones that see some of my content, are in that same boat. They're in their teens, under 25, under 20, and they've just gotten into this rut because of COVID, because of being at home, not having, friendships where they can have these types of interactions, to where they're just sitting at home and smoking every night. And that's like the best thing that they have going on.
Like, listen, I'm with you guys. I want to get high too, but I want my high to be sustainable, and I want it to last, and I want it to be lifelong, and I want it to be every single moment of my life.
Yeah.
And like smoking marijuana will relax you, but it really, like, for me, it kind of fogged me. Like, it took away from my clarity. Like, you ever
100%.
smoke so much weed and you're just like, man, I'm so unclear right now. I'm like fogged, right?
And you're scattered.
And it does shut your thoughts off, but then it adds to the next morning, it adds to the anxiety, it adds to the thought.
Things you put off.
Yeah, and then you're just like, man, I just need to smoke weed just so I can, like,
feel good again.
Yeah, not even feel good, just feel like somewhat functional and like I can even go outside and function. And so I'm with you on that, but I just, like, I've found that, like, a clear high is the best high. Like, the clearer I am.
Hey.
Oh, I'm not sure.
It's so cute.
Thank you. We open on Wednesday.
This Wednesday?
Yeah, we opened last Wednesday, but we're opening again this Wednesday.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great to know. We live down the street, so.
Yeah, come by.
Thank you. See you guys. All right. Thank you so much.
Not having a podcast show or anything. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Don't be kidding.
Dude, it like,
Oh, hilarious.
you're right. Like, I probably wouldn't have done that, but I mean, it is what it is.
No, I'm kidding. But that's no, I think that's a good idea, the way you explained it, because I've been coming at some of these kids a little hard, like,
Dude,
kind of
being
like slapping them in the
super
face.
clear. Like, once you start to kind of get in this lifestyle, you're like, how clear can I get? Like,
yeah, it's like the sharpest high. How sharp,
how,
precise.
like, yeah,
On
how,
top of it, like, imagine flying or jumping out of a plane. Like, you want to be foggy at that time, bro. You want to be precise.
yeah, I've
You
even
want to
started.
land that thing.
I've even noticed that, like, if I don't eat in the morning, I used to just
I'm
obviously
sharp.
trying to gain weight. Like, I used to eat steak and eggs in the morning, and then
Oh.
like 1,000-calorie protein shake, and I'm like, holy
Let me go back
shit!
to
I know I
sleep
just
here.
woke up, but I need a nap. It's like 9:30 a.m. I'm like,
Yeah,
I need
hear
a nap
that.
already.
I hear that.
And so I've started just to seek clarity in my life. And through that, I'm just like, I still don't even really eat in the morning. Like, I'll eat fruit, or I'll have a smoothie, or I don't know, just
I've
something
noticed
light.
that I'm more clear the more I delay my first meal, because after my first meal, I'll see a small dip in my energy.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, I wasn't as clear as I was before. But then obviously now that I'm trying to be more on the fat loss journey, you do need to have, you can have certain things that don't deplete your energy, but they're not,
and like, I want to be at my most clear. You know what's super high to me is knowing that when my mom or my family members or people in my life call me with their struggles and lies that they might be believing, or thoughts that they might be controlling them, that I'm in my clearest and best version of myself to help get them out of that, right? And help kind of see through it, to give them the best advice or ask them the best questions and help guide them through whatever it is that they're going through. And like,
otherwise you're doing a disservice to them and to yourself.
Yeah, like I don't want to like go smoke a massive joint and then my brother calls me and he's like, and I'm just making this scenario up, but he's like, I feel like I don't want to live anymore. I'm feeling suicidal right now. And it's like, I'm high.
Yeah.
Right? How, like, and if something did happen to him, would I live with this regret of I was spending my time getting high as opposed to being the best version of myself? And if I wasn't high, I probably could have helped navigate my brother through that situation a little bit better. And like, that's obviously to the extreme. I'm not saying you should give in to fear, but like there's peace of mind in not living with just the utmost
and knowing
regret.
that I'm in my best place, in my best mode of being, that no matter what comes my way, I'm going to be equipped to handle it with the best of my abilities.
Exactly.
Slam dunk.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, why would you not want that?
And that forget about it, my brother. That's for everyone in my life.
Yeah.
Like there might be someone walking down the street and they're battling, like they might be walking to go
100%.
do something dangerous, or may just be in such a dark place or something. And if I'm not at the best version of myself to see and help them through that, like then I live with regret from that. And I think peace of mind is living with no regret. It's knowing that you're the best version of yourself in every single way. And it's the same, like forget about even smoking weed. Like I think about it even if in the morning, if I had steak and eggs and I'm just unclear and I'm like just all fogged down, it's every, that's why I said earlier in this podcast, I'm like, it's not a part-time job. It's not even a full-time job. It's an every single moment type job. And that's what the true high is when you commit yourself and surrender yourself to whatever is right and whatever is true in every single moment.
I don't have any more questions. That's clear to me.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, dude, I had such a great time chatting with you.
Me too. I am so excited that we got to do it. And this has turned out way better than I ever could have imagined. And I'm just thankful that the equipment worked. And
I want to clarify too, like if you truly believe that smoking marijuana or whatever it is, I'm not telling you what's right for you. I'm telling you what has been the best for my life, right? And I'm not here to tell, everyone's on their own journey. I'm not here to tell people how to live their lives or what they should do. I'm just talking about it from my own perspective, someone who like has woken up and is trying to like see clearer on like every single day. So if you truly believe that smoking marijuana or drinking alcohol or not exercising for whatever reason, like if you truly believe those are the best things for you, do it.
And you're happy, go for it, bro.
Do it. But I'm just saying, what I'm saying is make sure it's not the voice in your head that's talking to you, and make sure that you're actually doing the things where you actually have some clarity in your life in order to see that first. And like, if you do, and it's still the same result at the end of the day, great. I can smoke weed every day if that's what brings you joy. You know what I mean? Whatever it is that brings you joy, I'm just saying be honest with yourself about it.
Keep it real. There's no other way to do it.
Nope.
Well, thank you, Dillon. I do appreciate this. And this has been really nice. And I would love to, on record, ask your permission to come back and do this again with you.
That sounds phenomenal.
Palmys, our new home in Pacific Beach. I'm so excited for this place to blossom.
By the way, I'm sipping on some Mountain Valley spring water right now. It's delicious.
I'm sipping on some of that local H2O that's sold right here in Pacific Beach, which is delicious. I get that 50-50 blend, that half alkaline and purified water. You got to try some of this. I'm going to bring you some. It's so good.
Sounds delicious.
Bro, this is my new blend. It's like my Arnold Palmer, but with water.
And I will add hydration's a big thing too.
100%.
To the list.
All right, kids, stay in school, do less drugs, work out more, meditate more.
Do what brings you joy more.
Do what brings you joy more. God bless. Thank you, everyone. Catch you next time. Thank you for checking out this show. I really appreciate your time, and I can't wait to hear from you. If you want to give me any feedback or want to get in touch, know someone that I should put on the show, reach out to me on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever you are online. You bet you can find me there. Just search for The Real Abhinav. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.